I'm your host here, Joe, and today we are talking single women. Are they helping or hurting other single women out here? And I'm just gonna talk about a couple of pros and cons, just because of recent, I've just been noticing that I don't think single women are actually here helping each other. I think they carry a little bit of bitterness sometimes, jealousy, envy. They're a little scorned. Maybe they don't have the same goals or mindsets as other women. And I'm just kind of here to discuss, you guys, because I'm just here to talk and here to kind of express my views. So reason why I'm talking about this is because I've just reached out to a lot of women who are single and just inquiring of course, why are you still single, and expressing to them you guys, I'm really on this journey of trying to find my husband, trying to get myself together and all these things. And I've just been getting a lot of pushback and a lot of feedback from some of them, and they've been oh, you're too focused on that, and oh, you need to be focused on yourself, and this, that, and the other. Oh, you're taking this Kevin guy too seriously. Oh, he's getting to your head. And, oh, you need to be focused on that. The right guy will find you, or all these things. And I'm just listening and I'm just no. You have to be proactive about it. First and foremost, he's just not going to fall from heaven. And also you have to be ready, willing, and able, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. It is a process in not only finding the right person, but being with them. And if I haven't told you guys before, but I've never been in a relationship, and I just celebrated my 27th birthday. So according to Kevin, I'm now in the danger zone, and I'm just okay, kind of correcting a lot of my wrongs so that I can be ready when he comes along. And just talking to the single women, because a lot of the people I've been talking to, they're in their 30s, close to their 30s, and they're I don't know, not pressured or not focused on it, or a little bit scorned from their past relationships, and they're kind of just okay, whatever happens now. And I don't want to say that they've given up or whatever, but I'm just taken aback sometimes at the advice that they give. One of the girls was oh yeah, you're too focused. You're too obsessed. Just be doing you. And, and I'm well, what has been getting you? Because no offense, but I don't want to turn around 3, 4, 5 years from now and still be single, still lost, confused out here like you. Again, no offense, but wouldn't you give, the younger person some advice? And I'd like to say, hey, maybe you should go to these places. Maybe I should, maybe you should try these kinds of guys. It was just kind of oh no, that should be your focus. You should be focused on you. And I'm well, I've been focused on me for the last 27 years. And where the hell has that gotten me? You've been focused on yourself for 29, 30, 31, 32 years. And where has that gotten you? So do you think single women are helping other single women, or do you think they're hurting? Because I don't think they're giving the coaching, the advice, the mentorship, the the guidance that they should be out here giving us. I think, they're a little bitter, a little bit scorned at their own, at things not working out for them, and past relationships, especially when, you see the person you thought you were going to be with go off to be with somebody who's not you. And you're not going to when the next girl comes oh no, don't worry, he's never going to like that, or this or that. And I'm he's never, oh, he's never going to like you. Or it's not that. I'm no, I have to be positive. I have to think, more of myself. And, one of the women even talked about going 50-50 with a guy. Oh, how do I feel about bills? And I'm well, what kind of guys are you dating? Because what kind of advice can you be giving me if we're talking about going 50-50 with a guy? Whoa, that's not good advice there. So I'm even as I'm on this journey and everything, it's actually only been my married friends who've been receptive of everything I've been saying. Even when I talk about Kevin, or I bring up the things I've heard or he talks about, and because we use ourselves as examples. We are the women he talks to and he reaches out to, and the demographic he's looking to help. And so when I talk and about us like individually, it's only the married ones that are like, it makes sense. Keep talking, keep doing this. Because I'm just like, the single girls are just like, oh no, you're crazy. Like, it'll just come around. And I'm like, well, it's been 32 years for you and he hasn't come around. So like, is it you or is it him? I don't know. But I don't want to wait till I'm there to figure it all out. So like, I want you guys to comment below, like, how is it when you guys talk to your single friends? Do you think they're helpful with you with trying to find your next significant other? I told you, I haven't told you. I brought up the suggestion of getting a matchmaker for me and my friends. I was like, hey, you guys, like, it's about like 8, 9, 10 of us that are single. Like, how do you guys feel about a matchmaker? It's $500 to $1,000, possibly. I didn't even know. I'm just throwing out some really random number just to see if it'll stick. And they thought I was fucking delusional. They were like, you're out of your mind. I'm not paying for this. Like, oh, I'll find you a man. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, but if you haven't found a man, like, how you gonna find me a man? And like, first of all, if you had a man, why would you already be giving them to me? Like, why would it take for me to come out here and say A, B, and C for you to already know that, like, I'm out here still single, like, looking for somebody? Shouldn't you be proactive already? Because if you see somebody who you think would be best fit for somebody, why wouldn't you try to put them on? Why would, like, it took me to say that I need a matchmaker, and they're talking about, oh, no, 500 is too much, 1,000, oh, that's too much. I'm like, okay, like, well, what's a reasonable number? It's at $50. Like, somebody's, like, that's unrealistic. And it's like, are we, willing to pay to put ourselves in that position? It's just like, and when they ask the married woman, wait, would you have, obviously because they are married, they don't have they have to look at it, they look at it differently. But they said, hey, I would be a little bit more receptive. Hey, things work out, especially when you list all your qualities. People can try to put things together. I just thought that was a little weird. Like, they were like taken aback. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever heard. And just like, recently, like, just again, talking to them, they've just not comprehended the whole thing of, they're still in a blame game of the guy. So it's his fault and he'll find me. And it's like, okay, well, what about the being proactive and looking for him and approach him and being ready when he approaches and everything? And it's like, I don't know, there's just some disconnect in, the single women out there. And ladies, like, we're all in this together. And I kind of want us to get out of this, like, we should be here proactively helping each other. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you that I'm looking for a guy, or I'm trying to get a matchmaker for you to tell me you have a guy for me. You should be proactive to know that, oh, I have a great girl. Her name is Jo. And, like, I think she'd be awesome. Or I think you guys should even, exchange numbers and test it out. Because, like, one of my friends, like, I thought her and my brother would be great. Like, I got the personality match. I looked them up just to even see. And I was like, being proactive. I didn't sit there and let you go 30 and still be, out here lost in the sauce. Being a proactive friend. Even me having this discussion and bringing up this, and, I get a lot of pushback from my friends because it's like, you're annoying. But I'm like, you know what? I'm happy I'm opening a discussion, because what else the hell are we going to be talking about? I'm not here to blame men for nothing. So unless we're going to be talking about ourselves and self-improvement, because that's all that is there to talk about. So I want you guys to let me know, are your single friends keeping you single? And, do you think they give good advice? Do you think they're proactive? Do you think they're, are you on the journey to looking for a guy or a husband or, a boyfriend? Like, if you are, well, that's what you should be describing to me. But, do you think your friends are, like, helping or hurting you in possibly finding that? Do you think they don't give you good advice even when you are with somebody? Like, hey, maybe you were with a good guy and, you guys had one bad argument or one bad little situation and you went to your friends and they were like, oh, no, girl, dump him. He's no good and this, that, because that does happen out here, and then 2 weeks, a month later, they, try to holler at him. But, do you, should we be seeking some like alternative advices and everything? Because, like, hey, maybe our friends, obviously they don't know anybody, because if they did, they'd be, not in the position that we're in, right? Right. But again, this is another episode of That Average Show podcast. I'm your host here again, Jo. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm working on what's going to come up next, but stay tuned.